Hi everyone, this is Susanna from Hold It Right There Sewing Patterns. You're watching my video tutorial series for the Tremont Crossbody bag sewing pattern. To make this sewing pattern, you will need to purchase the Tremont Crossbody sewing pattern at my website linked below. In my previous video, we cut out all of our pattern pieces, fused the interfacing, and we're ready to begin. Locate exterior panel front A and exterior zip pocket D. On the wrong side of the exterior panel front, draw a 1/2 inch by 6 inch rectangle. Be sure the rectangle is centered 2 3/4 inches from the top edge. To determine the center, it is helpful to fold your panel right sides together, crease at the top edge, and either cut a small 1/8 inch notch or mark with a pen. Place the exterior panel A, front, right side up. Right sides together, place one exterior zip pocket D centered 1 3/4 inch below the top edge of the exterior front A. Once again, it is helpful to fold the pocket in half to determine its center, and again, either cut a tiny notch at the top center crease or mark it with your pen. Pin the exterior zip pocket to the front panel. Turn the exterior panel wrong side up. Sew along the drawn rectangle. You'll be sewing through all layers of fabric and interfacing. Working from the wrong side of the panel with the pocket remaining pinned in place, slowly and carefully sew around the drawn rectangle. I use a smaller stitch length when sewing zipper rectangles, since in a moment we will be cutting close to the stitching. Remove your pins from the pocket and turn the exterior panel front wrong side up. Cut across the center of the rectangle through all layers of fabric and interfacing, stopping 1/2 inch from both the left and the right sides. Then cut out Y-shaped corners, going as close to the stitching but not through the stitching as you can. If you accidentally cut through the stitching, just go back to your sewing machine and sew again over the rectangle. Push the pocket from the right side of the exterior panel front through the opening. Carefully press until the rectangle zipper window opening is flat. This can take a little bit of time, but the end results are worth it. If you are using continuous zipper tape or zipper by the yard, you will need to cut 2 8-inch zippers. Otherwise, locate one of your 9-inch or longer purchased zippers. For continuous zipper tape, you will need to baste over the zipper teeth about 3/8 inch from both ends. This will keep the zipper pull from running off the edges. Be sure the zipper pull is facing to the left. Apply either double-sided tape or a small amount of fabric glue to the zipper tape to keep the zipper from shifting. Center the zipper in the zipper window opening. Then slowly and evenly sew around the edge of the rectangular opening. Maneuver the zipper pull as needed while sewing. Place the exterior panel front A wrong side up. Right sides together, place the remaining exterior zip pocket D on top of the sewn pocket. Pin or clip around the edges of the pocket. Using a 1/2 inch seam allowance, sew all 4 sides of the pocket together. Be sure to keep the exterior panel front out of the way while you're sewing. Trim the pocket seam allowances on all sides, close to the stitching. Locate exterior slip pocket C1. Right sides together, place C1 on top of exterior panel front A. Pin or clip along the bottom edge. Sew using a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Then press the seam allowance open. To avoid sewing through the zipper pocket in the next steps, fold up and either pin or clip the pocket to the top edge of the exterior panel front. Locate your overlay F piece, either option 1 or 2. For overlay F, option 1 only, place the overlay wrong side up. Mark the center on the left and the right edges. Next, match up the seam joining the exterior front and back panels with the marking on the wrong side of the overlay option 1. For either overlay option 1 or option 2, apply a small amount of fabric glue on the wrong side of the overlay to prevent it from shifting. Center and secure the wrong side of the overlay to the right side of the bag exterior bottom. Top stitch all the way around the overlay 1/8 inch from the edge. Be sure that you are keeping the exterior zip pocket out of this stitching. Place the exterior panel wrong side up. Locate your 2.5 inch by 7.25 inch piece of ultra-firm stabilizer, such as Pella & Peltex. Apply a small amount of glue and center the stabilizer on the wrong side of the base of the bag. Using a 1/8 inch seam allowance, sew around the rectangle stabilizer through all layers of fabric, overlay, and interfacing. Set aside the exterior panel for now. Locate the strap tab E pieces and place wrong side up. Fold in and press the long side raw edges over the interfacing toward the center. Fold in half, long side to long side, matching the folded edges. Repeat with the second strap tab. Using a 1/8 inch seam allowance, top stitch both long sides of both strap tabs. Insert each top stitched strap tab through the D-rings. Fold the strap tabs in half, matching the raw edges, and pin or clip the raw edges together. Measure 1/2 inch from the top raw edge of the prepared strap tabs. Draw a line with a friction pen or a washable fabric marker. Locate exterior panel back bottom B2. Place right side up. Measure 1 inch from the top left and top right edges. Mark the 1 inch measurements. In this video, I turned the piece facing me so that I could just see more easily where I am marking, but it is the top edge of B2. Pin or clip the strap tabs at the 1 inch markings you just made on B2. Be sure the D-rings are facing downward. Align the 1/2 inch markings on the strap tabs with the top raw edge of exterior panel back bottom B2. The raw edges of the strap tabs extend above the panel. Sew the strap tabs 1/4 inch from the top raw edge of B2. Locate B1 exterior panel back top. Right sides together, pin or clip the bottom edge of B1 to the top edge of B2. And once again, it is helpful to determine the center by folding B1 in half, making a crease at the bottom center, and either notching it or marking it with a pen. Once you have the two pieces, the B1 and the B2, clipped right sides together, sew using a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Press the seam. Top stitch 1/8 inch below the seam. Mark rivet insertion points centered on both strap tabs, approximately 3/8 of an inch below the seam. Follow manufacturer's instructions to install the rivets where marked. Locate the magnetic snap and supplies for installation. Centered on the right side of the joined B1, B2 panel, Measure 3/4 of an inch below the seam. Mark the insertion point for the female magnetic snap half. Center one of your snap washers over the marking that you just made. Again, using your pen, trace the left and right prong placement lines. Using the sharp point of a seam ripper, carefully cut through the left and right prong placement lines. To prevent the incision edges from unraveling, apply a few drops of liquid fabric sealant such as Dritz Freycheck, then allow to dry before moving on to the next step. Place the snap washer on one of the ultra-firm stabilizer squares. Trace the left and right prong placement lines of the washer with your marker. Using the sharp point of a seam ripper, once again, carefully cut through the left and right prong placement lines. Repeat with the second square of ultra-firm stabilizer. Working from the right side of the joined B1, B2 panel, push the pronged feet of the female magnetic snap half through the incisions in the panel and through the ultra-firm stabilizer square. Insert the magnet prongs through the holes in the washer. Fold the prongs outward to secure. To prevent the snap prongs from damaging your bag, use a small scrap of woven interfacing and fuse it on the wrong side of this panel over top of the magnetic snap. Locate C2, the exterior slip pocket lining. Determine the center as you have before by folding the panel and creasing. Mark where creased at the top center edge. Centered on the right side of this panel, 1 3/4 inches below the top raw edge, mark the insertion point for the male magnetic snap half. Install the second magnetic snap half just as you did the previous, following instructions in steps 21 to 23 of your pattern instructions. Locate the exterior front and back panel that we prepared earlier. Right sides together, pin or clip the top raw edge of exterior slip pocket lining C2 to the exterior slip pocket C1. Sew using a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Press the seam allowance open. Then turn the slip pocket pieces facing right side out. Top stitch 1/8 inch from the seam. Locate the prepared B1, B2 panel. This will now be attached to the exterior panel with the overlay. Snap the magnetic snap halves together. The exterior panel back bottom B2 and the exterior slip pocket lining C2 will be facing right sides together. After you've snapped the magnets together, lift the exterior slip pocket C1 out of the way for the next step. Keep the exterior slip pocket lining C2 right sides together with the exterior panel back bottom B2. Draw a line 3/4 of an inch above the bottom edge of the exterior slip pocket lining C2. Pin or clip the sides, the B2 and C2 pieces together to prevent them from shifting. Sew along the line that you just drew. This will close the bottom of the exterior slip pocket. I find it helpful to scroll up the part of the bag that I'm not working with for this step. Here you can see I've sewn across the line that I drew 3/4 of an inch above the bottom of the slip pocket lining, and now I'm going to cut off that excess close to the stitching. We're going to keep the panels oriented in the same way where the exterior is scrolled away from us, and now we're going to draw a line 3/4 of an inch from the left side of the slip pocket lining and 3/4 of an inch from the right side of that C2 exterior slip pocket lining. On both sides, I'll stop the line about 3/4 of an inch below the seam at the top edge. Sew along the lines through B2 and C2 on both left and right sides. Here you can see I've sewn along those lines, keeping the exterior of the bag scrolled away from me, And now I'm going to trim the excess close to the stitching of those L-shaped or 7-shaped lines. And this will keep all of that bulk out of the seam when I join it to the zipper. And trim as close as you can to the stitching without going through the stitching, and trim on both left and right sides. And that concludes our video for the exterior panel for the Tremont Crossbody. You can set aside your beautiful exterior panel and join me in the next video as we make the lining. Thanks for watching. Happy sewing.